On the Nat Geo Wild Facebook page. That is a leopard. My name is James Hendry, and we are going to be spending 10 minutes with you in the company of 1, 2, and there's another a third leopard just over there, and they've killed a baby, no, not a baby, an adult impala. That there is the young female, and she is 11 months old. Her mother, Karula, one of our very favourite Safari Live characters, is 12 years old, and we're having a wonderful afternoon out here. Now, we're going to just wait for that other vehicle, you heard it start, to move, and then we'll go back to the kill and watch the female feeding. This is just a wonderful experience for us and hopefully for you. Please talk to us in the comment section of this Facebook Live broadcast. You can say hello, but rather, I'm going to say hello to you collectively right now. Rather ask us questions. It would be lovely to hear any queries that you have about these animals or what it is that we do out here. And while we sort of look at this little flat kitty who's full of impala meat, it is beholden on me to tell you that we're doing this on television on Nat Geo Wild every Sunday evening at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for 2 hours. That's 6 o'clock Central African Time. If you're not in North America, you can just watch that on the internet at wildsafarilive.com or on YouTube. Those are the ways you can watch us, or you can just Google Safari Live and you'll find one of the multiple platforms on which we appear. So that is 11 o'clock in the evening, Sunday evening, Eastern Standard Time in the US on Nat Geo Wild. We're going to be moving now and seeing if we can't see the other leopardess. David, you say they must be loving life. I think today, especially, they're loving life. It's warm, it's beautiful, it's clear, it's sunny, they've got food to eat, there are no hyenas around the place to steal their food, so I think they're having a wonderful, wonderful time here. And we're just going to move around and see if we can't get a view of the mother and the kill. Otherwise, we'll try and move towards where the little male is. So she's got 2 cubs at the moment, the male and the female, and they're obviously litter mates, so they're both 11 months old, and they'll be 12 months old next month, which is rather exciting for them. They'll go independent from their mum, probably, for in the female's case, about 8 months later, and in the male's case, probably only after 2 years or so. Now, please excuse the bashing and the whacking about in the bush here. And hello, Sutaya, you're in India. Be lovely to have a question from you. Thank you for getting hold of us. Ooh, we're going to have a great sighting here. Watch out your heads, everybody. Don't bash them. Now, Tina, a very good question, which I should have explained to you at the very beginning of this. You say, what part of Africa we're in? We're in South Africa, in the Kruger National Park. Many of you will have heard of the Great Kruger Park, one of the most famous national parks in the world. 8.5 million acres of untrammeled wilderness, and that's where we are. And I'm just going to move into the perfect position here, and we're going to have a wonderful shot of Karula, the Queen of Juma, with her lunch. There we are. Lynette, you're wondering how old they need to be to start breeding. The males technically can breed from about 3 years, females too. Females will breed from about 3, but the male will probably only breed when he's about 5 or 6 years old. That's how long it'll take before he can set up a territory of his own. Isn't that nice? Let's just see if she lifts her head. And I'm sure at some stage her youngsters will join her, but they've been eating since this morning, which means they're very, very full of food. And because they're so full of food, they'd have to break every so often. Hello, Assad. You're wondering, since leopards are solitary, how long they stay with their mums? Well, like I was saying, the females probably until they're 18 to 20 months old, and the males up to 2 years, sometimes even longer. Oh, look at that. She's having a wonderful meal. Now, while you watch her, I'll just tell you that we do this every single day from... look at that. From 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the morning, and then 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the afternoon, Central African Time, and that's on wildsafarilive.com, Otherwise, you can just Google Safari Live and you'll find the platform that suits you the best. We see lions and leopards and elephants and buffalo, all sorts of general game, 9 species of antelope, zebra, hippopotami, monkeys, baboons, 250 species of birds, and of course these magnificent leopards here. And Majinda, you're wondering about the age that they can get to, potentially 18 years. Her mother is the oldest leopard in recorded history. Obviously we don't know if she's the oldest leopard in history, but her mother was 18 when she shook off the mortal coil, and she is now, of course, 12, so she's probably got another, 5 years or so. Normally about 15 years or so. Majinda, you're wondering if this is dangerous for us. Majinda, we are risking our lives to bring you these incredible pictures. If it wasn't for our fearlessness, it would be impossible for people to go on safari. Majinda, I'm being completely sarcastic. It's not dangerous as long as we're sensitive. So we are sensitive. We know that this leopard knows vehicles, and so she's completely wild, but she's used to us, which means that our being here is not threatening her in any way. And so it's not dangerous for us because we are being sensitive. And Shelley, you're wondering about the males and why it is that they, rather like human males, are unable to leave home as soon as the females. Shelley, it's largely because what happens is that when the females leave, they set up a territory next to their mothers, and there's no real competition. They have a little bit of competition from sisters, from previous litters, but there's not a huge amount of competition. Everybody kind of sort of shifts about, and then the female has a territory, and she can go about her life, marking her territory, killing in it, and eating. With the males, it's different. The males, of course, compete for mating rights. Look how powerful she is. That impala is probably almost 1.5 times her weight. So the males really do have a rough time when they leave home. They find a territory. It's difficult. They have to fight for their territories quite often, and then when a female comes into estrus, they'll have to try and fight off other males sometimes, and so they need to be a lot older, they need to be more prepared for hunting, they need to be bigger before they go off on their own. Sire, you're saying those flies look like they're having a wonderful time as well. I think they're having the best time, aren't they? Sharing a kill with a leopard, gorgeous summer's afternoon here, fresh rotting meat there in the sunshine. Oh, wonderful for flies. And this leopard, of course, will eat this meat until it is entirely rotten, unless tonight it's taken by hyenas. So what she will probably try and do once she's eaten away, probably say 20% of the kill or so, she'll probably try and pull it into a kill. Now, Bob, you're wondering if we're anywhere near Lesotho or Swaziland. Bob, it's a very interesting question. We aren't anywhere near Lesotho. No, Lesotho is way down to the south and west of us now. Swaziland is due south of us by about, we'll work it out. Swaziland's about 200 miles to the south of us. So we're quite a long way from there. But from Lesotho, we're at least sort of 600 miles or so. And Cherie, you're wondering about this leopard's name. This is Karula, the Queen of Djuma. That's her official title. And Karula is one of our very favourite characters. And her 2 youngsters, you met Xongile, that was the little one, and Hosana is the male. We haven't seen him yet. Well, we have, but we haven't managed to find him for you yet. He's lying under a bush somewhere pretty close by. And Hosana means little chief, and Xongile means beautiful one. Tariq, you're wondering about the freshness of her meal and whether... Oh, she's up. And whether... Look at the flies. Now she's going to think about trying to get this thing into a tree, but now you're getting an idea of the extent of it. Tariq, you're saying, do they only eat fresh meat? No, they don't. They eat absolutely rancid, foul stuff. Now, what she's looking for is a place to stash this impala. She knows that... Oh, she's just giving a little bit of a growl there to the vehicle next door. And what she's doing is trying to assess if there isn't perhaps a tree that she can pull it into as the afternoon fades, so the hyenas and lions will start to get active, and they will steal this from her. She won't be able to defend them from you won't be able to defend it from hyenas or lions. Now, is it Abanath or Abanath? I think you're wondering about whether they only eat the internal organs or not. Abna, they eat everything except the hooves, which they can't eat. They will eat the brain, the heart, the lungs, the liver, the gallbladder, the thighs, or the hindquarters, the forequarters, the rump. They'll eat absolutely everything that they can. The only thing that they won't eat are the bones that are too thick for them to crunch through, and then perhaps pieces of the skull that they can't get to, but they do eat just about absolutely everything there. Now, Sarah, you're wondering how many leopards there are on the reserve. Well, depends what you mean by the reserve. The area that we traverse, we have seen 17 leopards, or 19 leopards in total, but the entire reserve, which is called the Sabi Sand, that's the reserve that we know here, probably about 85 leopards on this reserve. And then if we look into the Kruger Park, the entire expanse of the Great Kruger National Park, 8.5 million acres, I don't know, there are probably a few thousand leopards, which is wonderful. Now, just before I say goodbye to you, I'm going to show you that it's not all about the cats. There's a beautiful bird sitting on a branch over there. Can you see it there, Craig? Isn't that gorgeous? It's a little starling, Cape glossy starling, and it's just caught itself an insect, and it's watching the leopard as interestedly as you and I. All right, everyone, that's going to be it from us today. Thank you very much for joining us. We will carry on with this drive, wildsafariLive.com, or just Google Safari Live and you'll find our platform that suits you best. 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Nat Geo Wild, Sunday evenings in North America. We'll be going live for 2 hours on television, which is very exciting for us. So hopefully you will join us then. Until then, bye-bye.